Good morning, subscribers. It is 7:12 a.m. This is the Thompson Truth Channel, and coming back to fiance's place, heading home, so where I can go take a shower, iron a shirt, get stuff ready for work, and I got to be working at 8:30. Anyway, just something popping up on my mind. Haven't really been able to talk to people at work about because I work around a bunch of women, so take that for what it's worth. But tell me your thoughts out there on tomorrow's NFC and AFC championship game. I mean, who do you think is going to win? Hopefully there's not much haterade thrown around out there. But for me, I'm thinking it's probably going to be, I would love to see the Packers and the Jets, just because the Jets haven't been there in over 40 years. And Pittsburgh has won 2 in like the last 6 years or something. And plus, being a 49er fan, I want San Francisco to get back up and have more Super Bowl victories than Pittsburgh. But that's just me. But I'm thinking it's probably going to be Pittsburgh and Green Bay in the Super Bowl. Now, of the 4 teams that are there, the one that I definitely would like to win, at least as far as a player standpoint, it's got to be Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this guy is taking so much crap, especially this year after coming in after Brett Favre. And he'll have a bad game. They're like, oh, you can't win the big game. Or, last year, he only threw 1 interception, had a very high-ass quarterback rating, threw for a crap load of yards, a couple touchdowns. He lost in that first-round game to Arizona. But, of course, too, that wasn't his fault, even though he took the blame for it. It was defense's fault because, let's face it, Green Bay's defense sucked ass last year. Plus, on top of everything else, Green Bay's defense is coming back. I'm no Green Bay fan, but their defense is back and they're getting their players healthy at the right time, even though that they were struggling throughout the season. So that's my take. And plus, Aaron Rodgers seems like pretty chill guy, and there's nothing more annoying than when you turn on talk radio, sports talk radio, or you look at ESPN or whatever, and Aaron Rodgers comes up and it's like they waffle so much on him, it's not even funny. Although now they're going a little overboard a little bit with what he did to Atlanta last week. They're saying, wow, he's like one of the greatest quarterbacks out there. We'll see. But the guy deserves it, man. Most of his hometown seems to have accepted him. But, just kick Favre to the curb, man. Favre, to me, lost all of his appeal starting about 6 years ago when the first time he decided to retire before coming back. Which, he did that, 20 times? Give or take? I don't know. And on top of that, too, one thing that's great is if Aaron Rodgers wins the Super Bowl, he'll have as many rings as Brett Favre. So, yes, believe it or not, those people out there are on 100%. Brett Favre went to 2 Super Bowls, went back-to-back, but he only won 1. Super Bowl 31 against New England, I believe they won 35-21, if I'm not mistaken. I used to know all Super Bowl winners and scores, but I'm getting older, and so that stuff doesn't stick anymore. Now, what's really funny, though, that Favre will have on his record forever, that Aaron Rodgers won't, is when Favre lost the Super Bowl 32 to the Denver Broncos. Now, that's not necessarily so bad as the first 2 in a row, because it's John Elway's first Super Bowl, another guy that you kind of hoped for. Favre had his, Elway was at the end of his career, so let's look at his. But Denver was one of 3 teams who, up to that point, had been to 4 Super Bowls, but had never won. Of course, the other 2 teams, well, I'll see if you can name them. But one team was back in the 70s, and of course one team did it in the 90s. The team that did it in the 90s, I'll give you a little hint, they're still to this day the only team to go to 4 Super Bowls in a row, and, well, of course they didn't win them. But really looking back on it, some 20 years after the fact, when I was a kid watching that, I used to say how much that team sucked. But looking back on it, considering that only the closest any other team has gotten has been New England and Dallas going to 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. And even Denver did 3 Super Bowls in 4 years back in the 80s. Granted, they lost them. But yeah, that's actually amazing. People got 4 straight Super Bowls. But, of course, I'm going off topic here. So, yeah, Aaron Rodgers wins this. People will probably start giving him props. Now, I like the guy. He's a solid player. He does pretty well. He had a friggin' awesome game against Atlanta. I mean, he was 31 or 33 of 36 or 32 of 35. For 366 yards, a couple touchdowns and no picks. Dude, in his 3 career playoff games going back to last year, he only has 1 interception. That's another thing people are harping on. It's like, well, Aaron Rodgers, prior to this year, he had only won 1 playoff game. That's because he was starting his second season. He was only in the one playoff game. He hasn't had a chance once again. His defense sucked. Anyway, I'm almost back to my place, and I know you guys are probably getting tired of watching the sun. So yeah, tell me what you think. No prizes or anything for those two teams that had up to that point or two other teams that had 4 Super Bowl losses. Besides Denver. And tell me what you think. Who's gonna be in the Super Bowl and who's gonna win it? Once again, the heart says Green Bay and New York, but the brain and the smarts says Green Bay and Pittsburgh. Although, since I'm going Green Bay and Pittsburgh, I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago and New York, but what are you going to do? Okay, guys, take it easy. Have a great day. 7:18 a.m. Pacific Coast time, or Pacific Standard Daylight Time. Well, whatever. I'm getting too technical with that. Actually, I got to look at possibly spending some money on the games after work today. So, yeah, take it easy. Have a nice day. And give me your thoughts. It's great to be back. I'll have some more formal videos eventually, but for some reason I like doing this right now. It helps me vent my frustrations. Yeah. Later, people.